That sense of dissonance that so many employees might feel within their organizations. It's a lack of coherence between what they want their lives to be about and what is actually happening in the workplace. We no longer want to bifurcate our lives and to separate our lives into, work is to make money, and family is to have some meaning and some love in our lives, and maybe we go to church and religious to be able to feel some connection with transcendence and purpose and meaning. And we don't want to have work that doesn't have meaning. We tend to think in economics that the main source of motivation for all of us is self-interest. It's not from the benevolence of the butcher or baker that we get our dinner, but from their regard to their self-interest. That's what we teach in our economics classes. That's what we understand as the basis of our models. But the same person who said that, the father of Homo economicus, Adam Smith, started his second book, Theory of Moral Sentiments, with the quote that, "Howsoever selfish a man may be, there is a principle in his nature that concerns him with the benefit of others and renders their happiness necessary to him." What if there is this principle in our nature? How do we connect people to that social impact that they're having and allow them to feel the happiness that they might feel from serving others? In economics, we think, okay, there are different types of people, potentially. There's people who are more altruistic or less altruistic. And then I'm faced with certain incentives on the job, in my family, etc. And that makes me behave in more or less altruistic ways. But the idea that how I behave today will then start to affect how I behave tomorrow and the next month, for example, and then the following year. And that I could change my type, basically, from a more selfish person to a more altruistic person. Capital is something that requires a costly investment now that pays off in the future, right? That's how we save to create financial capital, for example. We invest in financial capital, which has returns. We think about investing in human capital, which has returns later on the job market, a kind of costly decision to educate ourselves. What we think actually constitutes altruistic capital is the investment in altruistic acts, which subsequently have returns for us. The more that we engage in altruistic acts, the easier they may be in the future, the more altruistic capital we have. That's something that we haven't really explored in economics, but of course is at the heart of most of moral philosophy, of many of religions, and now in what we think in neuroscience. This idea that actions form character because they're repeated. This idea that we are what we repeatedly do. It's something that one develops through constant practice and that accumulates in a sense of development within us, just as capital accumulates. That puts a lot of responsibility on, of course, us as individuals, but also, I would argue, people who are designing incentives and work environments. But you can also see it the other way, that people could come into organizations with some degree of altruistic capital, whatever it is, and they could feel it depleted little by little as they feel disconnected from their opportunity to create social impact, from the meaning of their work, from their opportunity to contribute. Anything done in the spirit of service can provide a contribution to society. Banking, for example, which we think of as a notoriously selfish industry, is actually doing a massive service to society by allocating capital to productive activity. To be really connected to that contribution to individuals who are able to create productive activity, to the jobs that are created, to the community development that can arise. We don't tend to think about bankers being motivated by that, but indeed, some of our research has shown that, in fact, they very much are, and that could be leveraged. And so part of the idea of altruistic capital is that individuals with this desire to serve can start to build something within themselves that the organization that they're part of is helping them build, that then can contribute constantly, both to their own happiness and to what they're offering society through their own accumulation of altruistic capital and through the way in which that altruistic capital, that individual altruistic capital, aggregates within the organization.